Hey guys, Alex Gordon here. Let me pull up a seat. I'm bringing to you the latest build that I've done. This is a DL-44, the Denix replica from Blastech. Wasn't that easy of a conversion. For me, it wasn't that difficult, compared to what I've been doing. But for someone that wouldn't have machines and stuff, this would be pretty difficult. The most difficult part of the build was I had to drill a hole lengthwise through the solid barrel here for the wires for the main LED, and I'll get into that later. The number one requirement for this build, this was with Jedi Yarnala of the forums. If he so desires, he can go over how this build came about, but for now I'm just going to keep it simple and do the demo. The number one requirement was that the hammer still work, and it does. One thing to note is it is possible to release the hammer without the blaster making a noise, and right now it's not making a noise anyway because I have the kill key in, but due to the nature of the hammer mechanism, the mechanism moves forward slightly when you pull the hammer back. You can see the trigger depress a little bit there, and if you just pull the trigger to the point where it releases the hammer, the magnet isn't close enough to the magnetic switch to actually make the blaster noise. So if you give it a 2/3 pull or better, it'll make the blaster noise, but if not, it is possible to just do that and be like, oh, what the heck's wrong? Well, give it a good pull like you mean it. It's not, I've just been playing around with it, and I've handed it to people who have just played around with it, momentarily, just to see if they accidentally got it to only do the hammer, and no one that I've handed it to so far has just been able to do the hammer unless I told them about it. So again, it's not an issue. It's the only way that it would have really worked, but it's just something to note. SD card access is in the chamber here. There's one little wire bunch that gets moved to the side due to how tight this is. And then the SD card is right in there, just with some tweezers or something. I'll click it, see if you can hear it. If I can see it, yeah, there it is. Use my little finger. There. So, yeah, you can probably hear that. It's really easy to access, just as long as you make sure you're holding this still. It's probably easiest to do as a two-person operation, but, and then when you're closing it up, one thing to make sure is there's a milled slot on the underside of this sliding piece right here. Just make sure that the wires going up and down aren't, way out to the side or way skewed. So they shouldn't come apart, they shouldn't come unbunched, but just as long as they're not way off to the side, this will close over it perfectly and you won't have any issues. Since there was no removable mag or really anywhere else to put the blaster core, like it wouldn't fit down here in the grips, that was just the way that we had decided to go ahead with it. Another thing we had decided to go ahead with was a flush aux switch back here, as well as in the same line a recharge port, 1.3 millimeters. So the batteries are down here, the recharge port, and the aux switch. That means 4 wires had to go through the moving hammer mechanism into the blaster core area. Wasn't easy, but I got it done. It wasn't extremely difficult, but just looking at it, it wasn't going to work without some special modifications. A lot of hollowing had to be done in the grips here. A lot of milling here, underneath here, in the front here, just various places. There's some sound slots here, here, and here, as well as underneath this piston here and here. So it's fairly loud. I used a Regal, well, not a Regal, it's a Cobatone 1.5 watt speaker. So as you can see, it's nice and loud. For a blaster, it's pretty bright. The aux switch is really easy to hit. It's not easy to hit when you're holding it by accident. If you want to while you're holding it, it is possible, but only if you give it a death grip. So like if you're holding it and you're just messing around, it's not really gonna hit unless you really squeeze it. plus your hand doesn't really fit there anyway. You normally have it up a little bit higher than that. Again, the hammer does work. And unfortunately, there wasn't really a way to make the hammer make any kind of a noise when it came back on a blaster core. I thought about it, but since the hammer mechanism's already connected to the trigger, it was either use the trigger for a magnetic switch or use the hammer piece for a magnetic switch. Otherwise, it would have had to been external, and then it wouldn't have, maintained accuracy. As being it's a blaster core, it has all the normal features of a blaster core. Six sound fonts plus eye saber. And I'll just go back into the font that I was on. Mostly because I haven't taken the jamming mode off of the Imperial Trooper font, and it gets really annoying after a while, when you're trying to do a demo like this at least. Stun mode. Let's see. I don't know how much else there is to say. It's it's fairly straightforward as far as a blaster build goes. It wasn't easy at all, but still it's fairly straightforward. I covered the SD card access, the batteries, the switch, the recharge ports. The main LED is up here. Blaster core and speaker are down here. That's really about it. Let me see if I can get a good close-up of it here. Those are perfectly lined up. It's one of the benefits of having a mill is you can perfectly line up holes like that. And as you can see, it's definitely flush mounted. The aux switch, it doesn't protrude at all. Nice and loud. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to take some pictures of this and hopefully ship it out to Ray pretty soon. And see you later.